A series of terror attacks were carried out against Israel this past weekend, with estimates of 700 casualties, over 2,000 wounded, and countless women and children kidnapped. Sunday morning, I had read an article about how in Israel, only active duty military are allowed to have guns, and you had to have at least reached the rank of sergeant to be able to apply for a civilian gun permit after leaving the armed forces. By the end of the day, I was reading an article about how the Israeli Minister of National Security was ordering officials to broaden their standards to allow as many civilians as possible to arm themselves. The minister posted on X, formerly Twitter, and wrote via a Google translation, "Today I directed the Firearms Licensing Division to go on an emergency operation in order to allow as many citizens as possible to arm themselves. The plan will take effect within 24 hours." The move is similar to what Ukraine did at the start of that war. While stopping short of handing out actual arms like Ukraine did, this still says a lot about the importance of civilian gun ownership. While the Second Amendment is meant for defense against the government, it's also meant as defense from all manner of threats, including other groups and governments. Just because the left says the government protects its citizens from threats so that we would never need civilian gun ownership doesn't make it true. And this is an unfortunate but perfect example. Speaking of protection, I'd like to pause for a moment and talk to you about the Attorneys on Retainer program, a new self-defense plan for gun owners that was created by the Attorneys for Freedom. You might have already heard of CCW insurance or have heard of these gun insurance plans. What you may not know is that if the insurance company says the shooting was not justified as self-defense, and you were convicted of a crime, your coverage ends. You might not also be covered if you used your firearm in self-defense in a gun-free zone, had drugs or alcohol in your system, or if it was in a domestic dispute. Now, as a responsible gun owner myself, I would not want to trust my self-defense shooting to an insurance company. I would much rather have the Attorneys for Freedom's experienced and aggressive legal defense team on retainer 24/7. So if you're a gun owner and you want the legal defense without the endless exclusions of an insurance company, join the Attorneys on Retainer Self-Protection Program. Make the switch from your existing self-defense plan today, and you can receive $50 off your sign-up fee using my code LibertyDoll at the link down in the description. Now back to the news. The Library of Congress has a document that actually lists the various gun control policies of other countries. Israel takes up 8 pages in that document, and among what I've already mentioned, it also includes license to manufacture, so no homemade guns, and a license to import and export guns. You need a license to possess and carry guns with a good cause requirement, a license to buy and sell guns, even a license to operate a gun range, a license to ship guns, registration of guns, surrender of firearms to the police upon the expiration of a permit to possess, mandatory reporting of lost or stolen guns, mandatory reporting of lost or stolen licenses, mental and physical health requirements, including a mental illness determination made by the Ministry of Health, a criminal background check, multitudes of training requirements, minimum age requirements, and a limit of 50 rounds of ammunition each year. Something, if you can't hit a terrorist with 10 rounds, you don't deserve to own a gun. Right? Isn't that how the saying goes? And even after those requirements are met, the country still rejects around 40% of permit applications. According to a 2017 report in the Washington Post, Israel has some of the lowest gun ownership rates in the world. And clearly it's due to their strict policies and not necessarily a lack of interest or need. Now, the left will say that Israel is unique because it has to deal with terrorism, so they should get a free pass when it comes to allowing their residents access to guns, even temporarily. But the left also likes to liken any incident of violence to terrorism, except, of course, the gang wars of places like Chicago. Those are conveniently ignored. But there is an argument to be had that if people are living in fear of criminals, whether those criminals are terrorists or gangbangers, that they should be allowed to protect themselves. One threat to life is not greater than another, They're both threats to life. All that being said, Israel is still limiting residents to 100 bullets instead of 50, so I hope that if anyone comes face to face with someone from Hamas, the bad guy moves real slow and doesn't use any cover. 100 rounds of ammo isn't nothing, but I can't believe that people who are living in communities that are actively in danger from an invading force are not being protected by the government, are expected to protect themselves, their homes, and their families with 100 rounds. Israel is also loosening the good cause requirement if you live in one of those communities that is deemed actively in danger. So basically, the great and powerful Oz is saying, oh, I done effed up, so you can carry this gun for now, but only 100 rounds. How very generous of the government. Is better than nothing and better late than never, but frankly, the events of this past weekend should put an end to the debate over civilian gun ownership, but I think that you and I know better. It'll be interesting to see if this move is praised in the mainstream media and left at large, like what happened with Ukraine, or if it's completely ignored, because it is the cool thing to hate Israel and only support Palestine. Regardless of your thoughts on that conflict, bottom line, people should be able to protect themselves and their families no matter where they're from. All right, everyone, that is it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you are new here, ring that notification bell, drop a comment down for the algorithm, because this video, not only does it talk about arguments against gun control, but it mentions some bad words. You know, it talks about some war and conflict, so it's probably going to be struck down by the YouTube algorithms. They don't like that stuff. So anything you can do, likes, comments, whatever, to help this video would be great. Regardless, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there and happy shooting.